Hello, my name is Lorraine and I am a spiritual medium. I have spent all of my life learning about metaphysics, the esoteric, the exoteric, and the occult. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about what is influencing you. We may be aware of some of the aspects of influence that we may be experiencing in our day-to-day life. Social media, of course, is a really big one. But the thing is that we often don't recognize just how much social media may be factoring into what is influencing us. So not only is social media influencing us, and this is one of a number of things I want to present to you. So social media influences us by bombarding us with pictures and concepts that not only just go into our visual field, but they go into our subconscious. And this is the element really of how we are influenced. It's not that we're influenced consciously about things, it's that really we're influenced subconsciously. But there's a lot more that's going on just than what meets the eye. So we're influenced by social media, being bombarded by all these different images and concepts, and this creates a program that runs in the background of our subconscious. In addition to that, of course, we are already programmed. We are already influenced from childhood. We're influenced by our family that we grew up in. We're influenced by our parents. We're influenced by the religion that we were brought up in. We are influenced by our culture. So our family culture may be different than the culture of the country that we live in. These may be overlapping or overlaying aspects. So we're influenced by the culture of our country. We're also influenced by the culture of our town or city or the smaller area that we may live in. Oftentimes there are particular sort of mindsets that occur within towns or cities, and this also influences us in a very subconscious manner. Our educational system influences us. How we are interact by adults, particularly when we're younger. So teachers, any sort of adult that we may have around us, those interactions have influenced us, and it creates this running backdrop in our subconscious that we may or may not be aware of. One of the bigger things that I really want to be able to bring to you today of what really creates an influence for us is simply that we are living in a quantum field. And the thoughts that we are experiencing are oftentimes not our own thoughts. These are thoughts that we are simply tuning into or receiving from the quantum field, and they are being received by our mind, by our subconscious. And we may identify these thoughts as our own thoughts, but really what's happening is that we are receiving energy. Our brains are giant transmitters. They are an organic, physical transmitter. So transmitters can receive and they can transmit. And so we are constantly transmitting and receiving. But it's the receiving part that is deceptive, because we are constantly getting things coming in to our receiver that are influencing us, and we're not aware of it. So what happens is that we dial into a certain vibration, and this relates to a lot of different aspects that may be occurring. So we have genetics that influences also, but I'm not just talking about the physical genetics. I'm talking about the energy that's passed on through generations and generations. Now this isn't just woo, this is science fact that that we are influenced by the energy that is being passed down to us on a generational basis, and they call this epigenetics. So we already are predisposed to receiving certain amounts of energy or certain types of energy or frequencies based on our genetics and our epigenetics and the culture that we are in. And so then we have the quantum field and the thoughts that are coming through, the energy. We're inundated. We have Wi-Fi everywhere. We have radio frequencies everywhere that are further transmitting this thought energy. In fact, if you think about it, the internet is one giant interactive energy that's being transmitted. It is like telepathy. And so we have this telepathic energy that is being transmitted all around us in this quantum field. And if we are tuned into that particular frequency or vibration, that is what we are receiving. And so this can often act like it's a validation for what we may be currently experiencing, but really what it is just that we're on the same frequency or transmission as this particular thought that has been broadcast from perhaps across the world, and now we're receiving it. So this is really very, it can seem really quite out there, but it's important to know that you are being influenced in many different ways. And so, and in addition to that, we have the energy of our workplace. We have the energy of the people that we encounter within the grocery store or the shopping mall. And we have all of this energy that we are constantly being influenced by. And some thoughts that we are receiving may seem that they are unique to us. It may seem that they may be validating whatever emotions or thinking process that we're having, but really that's all that's occurred, is that we are receiving other thought transmissions. And the dangerous thing about this is that just because we're not aware, that some of these thought patterns can actually be very destructive to us. We must remember that truly that we are spirit incarnate and that we are having a human experience. But the purpose of our life is to grow our soul. And what we must be able to start to focus on is aspects of that soul growth. What do you need to stay on your soul path? What do you need for your soul growth? And the more that you tune into these higher thoughts, more that you tune into these sort of philosophies of soul purpose and of the purpose of evolving and growing, you will tune into higher thoughts or higher energies, and you'll receive those, and that will also help guide you. But what happens is, because we're being inundated by a lot of material or physical thought energy, it just really pulls us farther away from concentrating on or being aware of our soul and the purpose of our soul. Why are you here? What is the purpose of your life? What lessons are you meant to be learning? What growth is it that's meant to occur? What karmic bonds are you working with? What karmic lessons? What is your dharma? And what happens again is that we can be taken off of our path. Now, I want to soften that a little bit by saying that every step, even every misstep that we take, is part of learning. I mean, that's the truth, that nothing is ever lost. And we are, it's a principle, it's a spiritual principle that we are all open to evolve and to grow, either here in the physical world or in the afterworld. And these are just concepts that you must start to contemplate in order to be aware of what are you being influenced by. And we tend to think of ourselves as being free thinkers. We tend to think of ourselves as being independent in our processing. But the truth of the matter is that unless you are working consciously on your thought process, unless you are working consciously with your own conscious growth and unfolding patterns, unfolding paradigms and programming that you have been instilled with. You have something running in the background that is preventing you from being your true authentic self. And I think that's key, really, isn't it? Is to learn how to be your true authentic self, to connect with your soul essence, to connect with your divine birthright, and to really understand that you are a spark of divinity, and that you therefore have all of the attributes and virtues able to be accessed. It's within you as divinity does. And this is much greater than living in the material world. I mean, really, the material world is the lowest and densest of worlds. And, you know, we are inundated with all of this material things, all of these constructs for this paradigm, and it is constantly influencing us. And that is the reason why you have not been able to connect with your true essence, is because you've been lied to. Is because you're constantly being influenced by worldly things, and as a result, not tapping into your own soul and not understanding your own consciousness. This is part of the growth that we're having here at this particular time. And because we're even more built up globally, and we have less nature to sort of absorb all of this energy, this thought energy, and these transmissions, and we just have more technology, we're just being inundated by energy all the time, and this is what's influencing us. It's just constantly running in the background, and we may not even, most probably, be aware of. So in order to be able to sort of circumvent that, take the time out to meditate. Meditating daily, 5 or 10 minutes even, will make a world of difference for you to learn how to connect with your soul. Just learning how to empty your mind and being aware of your soul essence, of how you feel at your core, being able to connect with that on a regular basis through meditation, contemplation, getting out in nature, and really just going within. That's going to help you rise above some of this energy that's being transmitted, these influences. And then we'll start to be able to be guided by our soul and our higher self. Because really, ultimately, that's the goal, is to be guided by your higher self. But again, we're guided by ego, and the reason being is because we are getting all of these inundated with all of this energy, all of these thoughts, all of this programming, and it's all been through the construct of the ego and not through the higher self. And it's because of that we're having all the struggles in the world that we're having. We're very material oriented, and you know, it's time to return back to spirit. It's time to return back to your divine nature and start to understand your own soul nature and your connection with divinity. So be aware of what it is that's programming you. Know that your soul will not misguide you. Learning to tune into your soul, going within and centering and connecting with that aspect of yourself that is divine, that won't mislead you. So take a few moments to contemplate what I've just shared with you, and be sure to journal, be sure to reflect upon this, and just really sit with what is it that's influencing you. Are you closer to your soul path than you were yesterday, last week? Are you living your truth? And be mindful of what you think your truth is, because your soul truth is different than the truth of your ego. And it's very easy to be able to be carried away by our ego. And again, that's what identifies most with this programming that you've already experienced. So I thank you very much for listening today. Please do be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more messages from a medium and much more content to be able to share with you. Once again, my name is Lorraine Appleyard, and I wish you all very many blessings, and may you walk with spirit. Bye for now.